Ethan Williams, a seasoned Canadian doctor, stood in the dimly lit control room, eyes fixed on the holographic projection of Earth. The planet bore the marks of recent devastation, a grim reminder of the war with the Zonians. His fingers hovered over the console as a distress call crackled through the speakers, pulling him back to the present. Dr. Williams, this is Settlement 43. We need immediate assistance. The virus is spreading faster than we can contain it. We're running out of options. Ethan took a deep breath, his mind racing. The alien virus was unlike anything humanity had encountered, and their medical supplies were dwindling. He had to act quickly. I'm on my way, he replied, his voice steady. Hold on. As he prepared to leave, his assistant, Dr. Amelia Hawke, approached. Her expertise in xenobiology had been invaluable during the war, and now it was crucial in combating the virus. Ethan, are you sure about this? The Zonians have made it clear they won't help us, she said, concern etched on her face. We don't have a choice, Amelia. If we don't try, those people will die. I have to make them understand. I have to appeal to their empathy, if they have any. With a determined nod, Ethan boarded the shuttle bound for Settlement 43. The journey was fraught with tension, each moment bringing them closer to an uncertain fate. The settlement was a small outpost on the edge of a desolate wasteland, its inhabitants struggling to survive in the harsh conditions. Upon arrival, Ethan was greeted by scenes of chaos. The sick and injured lay on makeshift beds, their groans of pain filling the air. The medical team, overwhelmed and exhausted, barely acknowledged his presence. Dr. Williams, thank goodness you're here, said Nurse Patel, rushing to his side. We've done all we can, but it's not enough. Ethan quickly assessed the situation, his mind working at lightning speed. He began directing the medical team, administering what little supplies they had left. Despite their efforts, it was clear that conventional methods were failing. The virus was adapting, becoming more aggressive with each passing hour. Amelia, we need to find a way to slow this down, Ethan said, his voice tinged with desperation. Amelia examined the virus samples under a microscope, her brow furrowed in concentration. This strain is unlike anything we've seen. It's almost as if it's learning from our treatments. We need advanced technology to combat this, and the only place we can get that is from the Zonians. Ethan knew she was right. He had hoped to avoid this, but their situation was dire. He had to confront the Zonian Council. Gathering his courage, he sent a message requesting an urgent audience, knowing that their response could mean the difference between life and death. Hours later, a reply came. The Zonians agreed to meet, but their tone was cold and dismissive. Ethan felt a flicker of hope as he prepared for the meeting, knowing that he had to convey the urgency of their plight. The Zonian homeworld loomed ahead, a stark contrast to the battered Earth. Its pristine cities and advanced technology were a testament to their superiority. Ethan and Amelia were escorted to the Grand Council chamber, where the Zonian leaders awaited. State your case, the head counselor said, his voice devoid of empathy. Ethan took a deep breath and began. Our people are dying. We need your help to combat this virus. We understand that you see us as lesser beings, but we are asking for your compassion. We are asking for your mercy. The counselors exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. One of them, a younger Zonian with a hint of curiosity in his eyes, leaned forward. Why should we help you? What do you have to offer in return? Ethan's heart sank. He had anticipated this question but had hoped for a different response. We have nothing to offer but our gratitude, our survival. The head counselor's gaze hardened. We cannot afford to waste our resources on your kind. You must find your own solutions. As they were escorted out, Ethan felt a wave of frustration and helplessness. They had come so far only to be turned away, but he refused to give up. He had one more card to play. Wait, he called out, his voice echoing in the chamber. I need to show you something. The counselors paused, intrigued. Ethan rolled up his sleeve, revealing a series of deep scars. These are from the war. We fought and bled for our survival. These scars are a testament to our resilience. We deserve a chance to live. A murmur rippled through the council. The younger counselor's eyes softened. Perhaps we should reconsider. There is strength in their struggle. The head counselor nodded slowly. Very well. We will grant you a trial period. If you can prove your worth, we may consider extending our aid. Ethan Williams stood at the helm of the human envoy ship, a sleek vessel designed for diplomatic missions. The Zeltronian homeworld, Zentherus, shimmered on the view screen, a testament to alien sophistication. The journey had been fraught with challenges, but now, as they neared their destination, the weight of their mission settled heavily on his shoulders. Amelia Hawke, the xenobiologist and Ethan's trusted colleague, approached him. We're almost there. How are you holding up? Ethan offered a small, strained smile. As ready as I'll ever be. This could change everything. The ship docked at a massive spaceport, and Ethan, Amelia, and the rest of the delegation disembarked. The Zeltronians, tall and elegant with iridescent skin, met them with cold formality. Leading them was Counselor Zevran, whose expression revealed no hint of emotion. Welcome to Zentherus, Zevran said, his tone clipped. Follow me. The council awaits. The delegation was escorted through grand corridors adorned with intricate, glowing symbols. Ethan couldn't help but feel a sense of awe, despite the gravity of their mission. They were led into a vast chamber where the Zeltronian council sat in a semicircle, their gazes fixed intently on the humans. State your purpose, demanded Counselor Thalora, her voice resonant and commanding. Ethan stepped forward. We seek your assistance to combat a deadly virus ravaging our people. We are aware of your advanced medical technology and humbly request your aid. Thalora's eyes narrowed. And why should we help you? Ethan took a deep breath, his mind racing for the right words. Because we believe in the value of all life. Despite our differences, we share a common thread of existence. Our survival depends on your compassion. A murmur of skepticism rippled through the council. Ethan glanced at Amelia, who gave him an encouraging nod. He continued, his voice steady and sincere. We have endured great suffering and loss. Our people bear scars, both seen and unseen, from the war and its aftermath. We ask not for charity, but for a chance to prove our worth. Counselor Zevran leaned forward, his gaze piercing. You speak of worth. Yet what do you offer in return? Ethan hesitated, then spoke from the heart. We offer our gratitude and the promise of cooperation. We are willing to share our knowledge and resources, to work together for a better future. The council fell silent, considering his words. Finally, Thalora spoke. We will deliberate. You will have our decision soon. As they were escorted out, Ethan felt a mix of hope and dread. The waiting was agonizing, but they had done all they could. Back in their quarters, Amelia tried to lighten the mood. You did well, Ethan. They're at least considering it. Ethan nodded, though worry still gnawed at him. I just hope it's enough. Hours later, they were summoned back to the council chamber. Thalora stood, her expression inscrutable. After much deliberation, we have decided to grant your request for a trial period. A team of our doctors will accompany you back to Earth. If your people prove cooperative and resourceful, we may consider a longer-term arrangement. Relief washed over Ethan. Thank you. We won't let you down. The next few days were a whirlwind of preparations. Zeltronian doctors, equipped with advanced medical supplies, boarded the human ship. Ethan and Amelia worked tirelessly to ensure everything was ready for their return to Earth. During the journey back, Ethan found a moment to speak with Dr. Leora, the lead Zeltronian doctor. We appreciate your willingness to help, he said. Leora regarded him with a calm, measured gaze. We are curious about your species. This is an opportunity to learn and, perhaps, to bridge the gap between us. Ethan nodded, appreciating her honesty. I hope this is the beginning of a better understanding between our peoples. As they neared Earth, a sense of anticipation filled the ship. Ethan knew that their real work was just beginning. The success of this mission hinged not only on the Zeltronian technology but on the cooperation and resilience of humanity. Upon landing, The delegation was greeted by a mixture of hope and skepticism. The Zeltronian doctors quickly set to work, their advanced techniques showing immediate promise. However, not everyone welcomed their presence. Ethan received reports of dissent and hostility from anti-alien factions. One evening, as Ethan and Amelia reviewed their progress, a loud explosion shook the compound. Alarms blared, and chaos erupted. Ethan's heart pounded as he rushed outside, fearing the worst. A group of saboteurs had targeted the Zeltronian medical unit. Fires raged, and the air was thick with smoke. Ethan quickly organized a response team, directing efforts to contain the blaze and protect the alien doctors. As the situation came under control, Ethan found himself face to face with one of the saboteurs, a man filled with hatred and fear. "Why are you doing this?" Ethan demanded. The man sneered. "We don't need their help. We can take care of ourselves." Ethan's anger flared, but he kept his voice steady. "Your actions endanger lives. We must work together, or we risk losing everything." The saboteur was apprehended, but the damage was done. Ethan knew this was only the beginning of their challenges. They had won a small victory by securing the Zeltronians' help, but the path ahead was fraught with obstacles. As the fires were extinguished and calm was restored, Ethan stood with Amelia, looking at the ruins. "We'll rebuild," he said firmly. "We'll show them what we're capable of." The sun set over the ruined landscape of Settlement 43, casting long shadows across the encampment. The Zeltronian doctors, led by Dr. Leora, moved methodically among the patients, their advanced medical tools gleaming in the dim light. Ethan watched them, a mix of hope and trepidation swirling within him. The success of this trial period was critical, not only for the immediate survival of the settlement but also for the future of human-Zeltronian relations. Amelia joined him, her expression weary yet determined. "How are they doing?" Ethan sighed. "They're making progress, but it's slow. We need to find a way to speed up the treatments without causing more harm." Amelia nodded, her eyes scanning the bustling scene. "I've been working with Dr. Leora on adapting their technology to our biology. It's a challenge, but we're learning." As the evening wore on, Ethan gathered the medical team for a briefing. "We're seeing some improvement, but we need to stay vigilant. The virus is adapting, and we can't afford any setbacks." Dr. Leora stepped forward, her voice calm and steady. "Our scans show that the virus is mutating rapidly. We must develop a new serum to combat its latest form. I'll need samples from the most recent patients." Ethan and Amelia quickly organized a team to collect the necessary samples. As they worked, Ethan noticed a young girl, no older than 8, lying motionless on a cot. Her face was pale, and her breathing shallow. He knelt beside her, his heart aching at the sight. "What's her name?" he asked a nearby nurse. "Layla," the nurse replied softly. "She's been getting worse. We're not sure how much longer she can hold on." Ethan gently took Layla's hand, his resolve hardening. "We're going to do everything we can to help her." As the night deepened, the team worked tirelessly, mixing and testing new serums. Hours passed in a blur of activity, each moment critical. Finally, as dawn broke, they had a breakthrough. "This should work," Dr. Leora said, holding up a vial of the newly formulated serum. "We need to administer it immediately." Ethan nodded, taking the vial and heading straight for Layla's cot. He carefully injected the serum into her arm, watching anxiously for any sign of improvement. Minutes felt like hours as he waited, the weight of hope and fear pressing down on him. Then, slowly, Layla's breathing steadied, and a faint flush returned to her cheeks. Ethan let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding, a tentative smile forming on his lips. "It's working," he whispered, relief washing over him. Amelia placed a hand on his shoulder. "We still have a long way to go, but this is a good start." Word of the successful treatment spread quickly through the settlement, lifting spirits and renewing determination. However, the threat of sabotage still loomed. Ethan received intelligence that the anti-alien factions were planning another attack, this time targeting the medical facility directly. "We need to fortify our defenses," Ethan said during a hastily convened meeting. They can't be allowed to disrupt our work again. As the team prepared for the worst, Ethan took a moment to visit Layla. She was awake now, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Thank you," she said, her voice weak but sincere. Ethan smiled. "You're very brave, Layla. We're going to make sure you get better." Suddenly, an explosion rocked the facility. Alarms blared, and chaos erupted as people scrambled to safety. Ethan rushed outside, his heart pounding. A group of saboteurs had breached the perimeter, and the air was filled with smoke and the sounds of battle. Amelia grabbed his arm. "We need to get the Zeltronian doctors to safety. They're the primary target." Ethan nodded, rallying a group of defenders to shield the doctors. As they moved through the chaos, he spotted one of the saboteurs attempting to set another bomb. Without hesitation, Ethan tackled him, a fierce struggle ensuing. "Why are you doing this?" Ethan demanded, holding the man down. The saboteur sneered. "We don't need their help. We can survive on our own." Ethan's grip tightened. "You're risking innocent lives. This has to stop." With the help of his team, the saboteur was subdued, and the remaining attackers were driven back. The medical facility had sustained damage, but the critical areas were intact. Ethan breathed a sigh of relief, but the conflict had left him shaken. As the fires were extinguished and order restored, Dr. Leora approached Ethan. "You risked your life to protect us. Why?" Ethan looked at her, his expression resolute. "Because we're in this together. If we're going to overcome this crisis, we need to stand united." Dr. Leora nodded, a hint of respect in her eyes. "Your people are stronger than I realized. We'll continue our work." Ethan Williams paced the command center, his mind racing with the events of the past few days. The saboteur attack had been a stark reminder of the obstacles they faced, yet the successful defense had strengthened their resolve. The Zeltronian doctors, now more invested than ever, continued their work under heightened security. Amelia Hawke entered the room, a tablet in hand. "We've managed to stabilize most of the patients, but we're running low on supplies. We need to secure more resources if we're going to keep this up." Ethan nodded, his expression grim. "I'll contact the council and see if they can expedite the next shipment. In the meantime, we need to maintain our defenses and ensure there are no more disruptions." As Amelia left to relay orders, Ethan turned to the communications console and sent a message to the Zeltronian Council. The response was swift but terse. The supplies would be sent, but their patience was wearing thin. Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time. He knew that the success of this partnership hinged not only on the medical breakthroughs but also on maintaining the fragile trust they had built with the Zeltronians. He called for a meeting with Dr. Leora and the other key members of their team. "We need to demonstrate that we can handle this situation," Ethan began, his tone resolute. "We can't afford any more setbacks. Dr. Leora, I need your team to double-check all security protocols. Amelia, coordinate with the local defense units to ensure we're prepared for any further attacks." Dr. Leora nodded, her expression serious. "We will do everything in our power to ensure the safety of our mission. The cooperation between our species depends on it." Ethan appreciated her dedication. Despite the initial skepticism, the Zeltronian doctors had proven to be invaluable allies. Their advanced technology and medical expertise were making a difference, but the road ahead was still fraught with challenges. As night fell, Ethan found a moment to visit Layla. The young girl was sitting up in bed, a faint smile on her face. Her recovery had been a beacon of light in the midst of their struggles. "Hello, Layla. How are you feeling today?" Ethan asked, sitting beside her. Layla's eyes sparkled with gratitude. "Much better, thanks to you and the doctors. My mom says I can go home soon." Ethan's heart lifted. "That's wonderful news. You've been very brave." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the command center. Ethan hurried back, finding Amelia and Dr. Leora in a heated discussion with a local defense officer. "We've intercepted communication indicating another planned attack," the officer said. "This one is more coordinated, targeting our supply lines." Ethan's mind raced. "We need to secure those supplies." If they succeed, it could cripple our efforts. Amelia suggested a bold plan. We should launch a preemptive strike. If we can disrupt their operation, we might be able to prevent the attack altogether. Ethan considered the risks. It's dangerous, but it might be our only option. Dr. Leora, can your team handle things here while we're away? Dr. Leora nodded. We'll manage. Just make sure you come back safely. As they prepared for the mission, Ethan couldn't help but feel the weight of responsibility. The success of their endeavor hinged on this operation. Failure was not an option. The strike team moved swiftly under the cover of darkness, their objective clear. They located the enemy encampment and launched a coordinated assault, catching the saboteurs off guard. The battle was fierce, but their resolve was unshakable. Ethan led the charge, his mind focused on the stakes of their mission. After a tense skirmish, they secured the supply lines and captured several key figures among the saboteurs. As dawn broke, Ethan and his team returned to the settlement, their spirits bolstered by the victory. Back at the command center, Dr. Leora greeted them with a relieved smile. You did it. The supplies are safe, and we can continue our work. Ethan nodded, exhaustion mingling with a sense of accomplishment. This isn't over, but it's a significant step forward. We've shown that we're capable of defending ourselves and our mission. The mini-climax of the preemptive strike had reaffirmed their commitment to the partnership. As they moved forward, Ethan knew that their success depended on continued vigilance and cooperation. With the immediate threat neutralized, Ethan and his team focused on consolidating their gains. They reinforced their defenses, streamlined their operations, and worked tirelessly to ensure the well-being of the settlement's inhabitants. As the days passed, the bond between the humans and Zonians grew stronger. They learned from each other, combining their strengths to overcome the challenges they faced. The initial skepticism gave way to mutual respect, and hope began to take root. One evening, as Ethan and Amelia reviewed the latest reports, they received a message from the Zonian Council. The trial period had been deemed a success, and they were willing to discuss a more permanent alliance. Ethan's heart swelled with pride and relief. We've done it, Amelia. We've proven that we can work together, that we're stronger united. Amelia smiled, a sense of triumph in her eyes. This is just the beginning, Ethan. We've laid the foundation for a brighter future.